Ribbit.
Tisdale. I might have known it was you who put a frog recording my recording of bets. Tisdale, I'm very busy. I don't have time for your practical jokes. Why don't you go back downstairs and study your dung beetles?
But I solved your problem, Professor Johnson.
All right. How much do you want?
Excuse me.
You have been a thorn in my side since you joined the faculty, Tisdale. How much money will it take to get you to resign?
Professor Johnson, is it any way to treat a person who just solved your problem?
This is just another ruse of yours to embarrass me. All right. I'll bite. What problem have you solved?
Well, when I asked you for proof of evolution, you couldn't find any true missing links to support your theory. But I found one for you.
A missing link? Where?
It's a fish with legs.
That's not a missing link, Tisdale. Those are tadpoles. So you are the one who put tadpoles into my coffee mug in the break room.
My coffee mug had coffee in it.
Tisdale. You're giving me an ulcer.
I'm sorry, Professor Johnson. I thought you'd be happy about my discovery.
That's no discovery, Tisdale. A tadpole is not a missing link. It's a stage in the natural development of a frog.
So, what you're saying is, even though these tadpoles bear no resemblance whatsoever to a frog, they are indeed frogs.
What's the matter with you, Tisdale? You're a professor of biology. Surely, even as dim-witted as you are, you knew that?
So what you're saying is that if I examine the DNA of these tadpoles, their DNA would look just like the DNA of a frog.
Not just like a frog, Tisdale. A tadpole's DNA is frog DNA. What's gotten into you?
Well, I heard you on that radio talk show yesterday promoting abortion.
I wasn't promoting abortion, Tisdale. I was promoting a woman's reproductive choice.
The problem is, the baby doesn't get to choose.
Tisdale, don't give me any of your Christian rhetoric. A fetus is not a baby.
Well, if that's the case, you've got a real problem.
Problem? What problem?
I'm afraid you're going to have to either give up your stand on evolution, or your stand on abortion.
I know what you're trying to do, Tisdale. You're trying to rile me. And when you rile me, you get me to say things I don't mean. And when I say things I don't mean, you get me to make wagers with you. And when I make wagers with you, I always lose. And when I lose, I always end up going to church with you. But I'm not going to church with you, Tisdale. I'm not. I'm not going to let you rile me. All right, Tisdale. I'm listening. What do tadpoles have to do with my abortion rights stand on talk radio?
Well, first of all, you said that aborting a child in the womb is not murder. Because he's not a person.
That's right. It's not a person. It's a fetus. And in the early stages it's just a blob of tissue.
So, what you're saying is that, if I take some DNA from a human woman, and combine it with some DNA from a human man, I don't get the DNA of a human being.
Yes. No.
Which is it? If I combine the DNA of a male and female frog, I get a tadpole. That looks nothing like a frog. Yet you said it was a frog.
Well, yes. But that's different.
Different. Are you saying that what's growing in the woman's womb is the evolutionary missing link that you've been looking for?
As much as I would love to say yes and prove you wrong about evolution, Tisdale. The answer is no. The DNA in the fetus is a human DNA.
Even the zygote?
Yes, even the fertilized egg.
It's human.
I just said it was a human DNA, Tisdale.
And encoded in the human DNA is the blueprint for the hair color, the eye color, the shape of the nose, the dimple in the chin, even the child's temperament.
I know where you're going with this, Tisdale, but you can forget it.
But, Professor Johnson, if I was to cut one of these tadpoles into pieces and suck it out with an abortion suction, I would be killing a frog. right?
Yes. I know what you're driving at, Tisdale. Yes, and in an abortion you would be killing a human organism. But that doesn't mean it's a person.
I think you should reconsider giving up either abortion or evolution, Professor Johnson. Because you're beginning to sound like a Christian.
A Christian?
Yes, and if you keep talking like that, you may end up having to give up both abortion and evolution.
What are you talking about?
If you're saying that the baby in the womb,
The fetus. It's a fetus.
if you're saying that the fetus in the womb is not a person from the beginning, that means that at some time after fertilization, it becomes a person.
That's exactly what I'm saying.
And during what surgical procedure is the personhood injected?
There's no such surgical procedure, Tisdale. Are you nuts?
Well, if the personhood is not injected from outside the womb, that only leaves two possibilities.
All right, I'm listening.
Either the personhood was always there from fertilization, or it's injected supernaturally from God. Which is it?
You're not going to rile me, Tisdale. You're not.
I'm not trying to rile you, Professor Johnson. I'm just an entomologist. I study bugs. You are the expert in higher animals. If anyone has an insight into the injection of personhood into a human fetus, you have.
You think you've trapped me, don't you, Tisdale? You think that you've painted me into a corner. If I say that the personhood was there from the beginning, then I have to admit that abortion at any stage of development is killing a person. Which is murder.
That would be the implication.
And if I admit that the personhood is somehow injected supernaturally, I have to admit that there is a God.
Yes. I guess that would be the implication, wouldn't it? Well.
What?
Well, Professor Johnson, it looks like there's now a third option for you to consider.
A third option?
Yes. Before you painted yourself into a corner, you could have chosen to give up either evolution or abortion. Now you also have the option of giving up atheism too.
I have one more option.
What's that?
Giving up my job. I quit.
Professor Johnson.
Based on a play by Bob Snook. Conditions for use: do not sell any part of this script, even if you rewrite it. Pay no royalties, even if you make money from performances.
You may reproduce and distribute this script freely, but all copies must contain this copyright statement.